momentum into the rest of the series.
Thanks so much, Kenobi. We'll jump into this one here, Panda, is again, T1W. They have already lost their one match versus LGD, so if I'm not mistaken, that means the head-to-head would obviously go in their favor, and I think they've pretty much cemented themselves in third place, but there is a lot riding on this one as far as what might happen throughout not only the end of this regular season, but as we potentially see potential, again, mirror matchups or rematches in the playoffs as we go forward. So for Bilibili, they're just taking their time looking to see what they want to set up with. They will swap Coldest over to the Ana.
Forget about the standings just for 1 second. This is about showing strength. This is about showing your grit. And this is what T1W.GZA, this is what they really want to be showcasing. As you see, Wuya right off the gate actually catches over off. And this is the difference in between the Reinhardt variant versus the Winston. You get a little bit more of that dive potential. Ooh. And you can actually put on a lot of pressure to a multiple target.
And even with that first kill, T1W wanted to hit the gas pedal through that side alley. And Bilibili just met them with the full force of Shy and a projected barrier and a self barrier that allows him to get up to 89% charge. EMP does come through, and whoa, that big biotic grenade to follow up. You're talking about instances and examples of how to follow up on an EMP. That was absolutely it from T1W. Big biotic grenade from Wuya to set themselves up for what looks to be a very convincing team win.
I think what's really exciting to see here from T1W.GZA is you're taking a look at Mijia. Typically, when you see the 3-3 or 3-2-1 that came out from this roster, Mijia was the one that was taking up to the Zarya role, but now we have Malaran here on the Sombra, has been a very strong DPS player for T1W.GZA throughout this entire season. So Mijia is right here for the flexibility of many stages to come. If the Doomfist needs to come out, well, they're right there. And Bilibili Gaming are having a hard time breaking through this composition, but they do have ultimates to fight this next one with.
EMP though, Bilibili trying to set things up. 5 players affected by it. Silver 3 gets taken down. And with the rally in effect for Bilibili, there's a lot of extra health pool there. And it looks like they should be able to flip this point pretty convincingly. This comes down to how many resources does T1W want to commit to trying to stall. It looks like none, as they'll just opt more for the soft reset, get back as a full 6-man, and then re-engage at full force.
Poor Over. Has yet to even build a single Earth Shatter so far.
Yeah.
But Shy does have the Graviton Surge available. It's just coming down to having the damage to expect Coldest to put the Nano Boost over for the damage to come through. Oh, locking down the Primal Rage Winston. That's a good start.
Yeah, and they're able to find Wuya as well. And then beyond that, Coldest able to put his Biotic Rifle to use, taking down Illusion at length. So now it's Bilibili with the control, and they've got a handful of ultimates to, again, delay this for as long as possible. Silver 3, he was looking to maybe possibly go Wrecking Ball. We'll swap back over to match the Reinhardt with one of his own.
It's a good call. Probably a little bit of an anger swap there. It's like, I can find backline pressure. I swear, Coldest is very vulnerable, but you have to allow Malaran to be able to find that themselves.
EMP coming in once again, but T1W is able to sustain through it with the sound barrier that comes out, except for Silver 3, who was affected by the biotic grenade. A sleep actually goes into Wuya, so just like that, Bilibili have an advantage moving forward, and they're able to mitigate what was essentially the only save potential that GZA had, and the idea of the sound barrier. So just like that, the 70% that T1W was able to accumulate very early on is about to be matched by that of Bilibili.
Okay, so now that the EMP is gone, Silver 3 is going to actually commit to going to the Wrecking Ball as well. Maybe get a good pile driver going as well to set up high beat self-destruct could be the play to go through, as well as the EMP. Even percentages across the board as well. And while Bilibili Gaming, they only have the rally and the sound barrier available.
T1W just throw out a random self-destruct and an EMP behind it, thinking they knew where Bilibili were set up, and that just goes completely askew. And now all of a sudden, Bilibili can just commit to trying to jump right back in. Another nice biotic grenade comes through, not able to follow up for the actual kills themselves as me just boosted up and looking like a raid boss with that extra Inspire, and of course the damage mitigation that's coming through. And T1W will flip the point around, but a very questionable engage to start. Fortunately, they don't get punished too hard for it.
There's going to be a last fight scenario here as well at 82% and counting up is T1W and 91% for Bilibili Gaming. If they get the flip, this is going to be very hard to combat back against for T1W. Yeah. And while Bilibili Gaming, they're about to have a Graviton Surge. They have the Nano Boost. Expect that to go over as well as an EMP to be completed here momentarily.
And there's no support ultimates for T1W to deal with either the EMP or the Graviton Surge, so it just comes down to essentially hoping that it gets whiffed. But look at the positioning. EMP able to find most of the support line. Illusion goes down. And, well, Shy still holding out of the Graviton Surge, just using it to capitalize on any players that are likely going to be able to try to contest late. And maybe you don't even need to use it as the fight was just over before they even had a chance. Again, you can see Shy is only at 6% charge. We'll lock players down here in this little platform. 98%, 99, and that will likely be 100. Overtime will be procced. That was by Silver 3, but his life was only a mere couple of moments. It just comes down to how long can you dance Illusion Well, BLG, they've been very good with their target prioritization throughout the entirety of the season. Big EMP, though, for Mole and Rien. Can you be able to follow up on get any eliminations? It doesn't look like it's going all that well. Again, no frontliners are here, and Bilibili will zone out properly to take the first part of Busan.
Well, here's the thing about downtown. It's a little bit more of a straightforward and existing on the point of a map as well. Well, when you get over to Mecha Base or Sanctuary, whichever map we decide, whatever map the RNG decides to go through, it's actually going to be Mecha Base. I expect to see T1W.GZA to probably swap over to the Hackfist. They're not going to be taking that swap momentarily. It's kind of scary to look at that as well as Bilibili Gaming. They're going to go over to a pull port composition. Shy going over to a Nekrich hit scan character. Expect to see the pop-off potential from this individual. Maybe a little bit of a showcasing of the 2-2-2 compositions that are going to be able to come from Bilibili Gaming. Maybe a little bit of a practice in the wakes with Yakumo on the May as well. So it's going to come down to a lot of freezing and lockdown potential that Bilibili Gaming are about to be having, and a lot of overheals as well with Mika on to the Mercy with Coldest on the Baptiste. It's a very scary composition. T1W are still sticking on the dive 3-2-1.
Comes down to who's able to find the first bit of damage, because honestly, whoa, I was about to say there's so much sustain for both teams coming through, but T1W unfortunately lose one of their key components in the Lucio. A nice headshot from Shy, and already 50% to a Deadeye. That could be obviously not only great for the damage secure for kills, but at least to zone away this point over with the hook, or probably the halt. The hook coming from Winter, not quite able to connect as they were used separately from each other. And again, Bilibili able to start things off very nicely. This May is going to be very, very hard to deal with, to be completely candid, for T1W.
So much damage Shy is finding into all of the healing. Sure, we is going to be able to get that nano boost onto Silver 3, but look at the initial stun.
Deadeye coming out. Not able to find anything with it, but at least before that was triggered, he's able to find Roland. Nice little tracking, but not quite able to find the connections needed to deal any significant damage to Silver 3. Winner takes Hy-Vee out of mech. Shy still trying to stay alive, but Silver 3 just runs right into him. And that'll be enough for him to jump right back up to the mini pack and then try to find the support line. He's having a hard time trying to locking these players down. We'll just go into the Primal Rage. Has to deal with the supercharge, though. It's a lot of damage. Fortunately able to take it down. But again, the numbers for Bilibili are looking really good. And again, you can see the target prioritization is great. You're able to put a Blizzard down with the Whole Hog and a Valkyrie. And that'll be enough for Bilibili to push back T1W once again as they hit 50% of the point.
It's not exactly the combination of ultimates that Bilibili Game they're going to be looking for. They actually utilize every single resource in that last engagement. T1W might actually have an opening here, going to have a nano boost to their name as well, although investing the rally and the Primal Rage to get all the resources out from Bilibili Gaming. It's just about working your way into the backline. You have to stick away from Yakumo if you're Silver 3 to find value in getting Shy. Maybe the EMP might be the engagement. Winter! My God, man.
That is, again, a very massive boon in the side of T1W. They're doing a nice job of fighting back, though, even without the Lucio being here, and he'll be back to the fight very, very quickly as well. It just comes down to how long will Bilibili be able to stall this for. It looks like they're not only stalling, but continuing to battle back on this little bit of a counterattack coming through, and T1W aren't able to find any progress towards the point whatsoever. They'll finally be able to try to get themselves on, but the ice block is good, as Yakumo will stay alive, allowing some time for his respawns to come back through from his teammates, but he's able to only get it around to the 95% mark before he falls. Now it's on the Shy. How distracting can you be with this Tracer? The answer is not all that distracting. But again, 99%, that's absolutely value for Bilibili.
Yeah, and well, that's the scariest part about Bilibili Gaming. They get it up to 99%. A one-fight scenario for them to come back on the Blizzard with the Amp Matrix available. Shy over to the Reaper. Now, this is a composition that we have known and loved. If you've been keeping up with the Overwatch League, this TPS duo is deadly. It's not necessarily the freeze that you have to be careful of with Yakumo, but the slowdown effect that Shy can find.
Another self-destruct thrown into the mix for Hy-Vee, but it's actually Shy on the Edgelord of Reaper, able to take down Silver 3 early on. There is an EMP ready to go for T1W, and they might need it sooner rather than later. But again, maybe the damage has already been dealt, as again, you can just see everyone just melting. The Blizzard comes through for Yakumo, and it's great. Even though Winter's taking a nap, Bilibili are still just pushing the W key down as hard as possible, and they flip the point right back around, and now it's just down to zoning and taking care of individuals that are trying to contest, and the EMP does get here, but unfortunately Silver 3 has already fallen, and well, beyond that, there's really not much else here for the side of T1W to deal with, as the Sound Bearer also fades away. Shy has himself a Death Blossom. If he can hit the trigger, sure will. That'll do nicely for the cleanup, and this will likely be Bilibili closing things out here as soon as they're able to find the last couple of staggered kills. Once more to the fray goes Silver 3 in the Primal Rage, but again, these Hellfire shotguns are just doing so much damage, and he can't stay for long enough. Bilibili able to close things out 2-0 on Busan.
Target focus is a little bit awry there for T1W, trying to debunk the bunker composition, trying to focus down both Winter and the Orisa as well. It's not necessarily the play, Chief, and well, T1W gonna be pushed back to the limits here.
Well, Kenobi, bring it back into this one. Again, Bilibili, we said at the beginning of the broadcast here that they are looking like the strongest team that obviously is not only a part of this Chinese Contenders season, but maybe as Chinese Contenders has been kind of historized in the past. Looking like that's Exhibit A to that argument for you.
Yeah, I think the best thing about BLG has always been, like, throughout the season going, as we've seen them throughout the season, the best thing about them is they cover every single base when it comes to team compositions, right? The flexibility that they have is pretty actually impeccable. We saw there on the first map of Downtown, they can still play the 3-2-1. Last season, they were arguably they were the best standard GOATS team, I would say, in Chinese Contenders, and there with the 3-2-1 showing that they still got what it takes. Shy on the Zarya, and let's just talk about Shy just in general. Probably at this point, one of the best DPS, if not the best DPS, only 16 years old, has a hero pool that has almost everything, kind of like Leave-esque from last World Cup, who can play almost anything, has some inconsistency issues, but we saw here bringing out the Reaper, bringing out the McCree as well. And if this thing about Bilibili Gaming, if they're going to go into this 2-2-2 meta, the fact that they can play this Orisa Hog plus the Mei Reaper, which is kind of shown to be the standard right now, and Owl, they're looking very good, because Mei is something that we haven't seen a lot of teams in China pick up yet. And the fact that BLG is and doing it so well on this first map is definitely a sign of things to come when we go to 2-2-2 in playoffs.
And Panda, again, as we take the perspective of T1W, it's kind of hard to pinpoint is one thing that's just going wrong. So far, it's just a combination of a lot of small things across not only frontline, but damage and support that are just going better for Bilibili, just at least by my assessment so far.
Sure, yeah, and there's the one thing to always look at when you're going into the Orisa Hog composition, even when we're not locked into a 2-2-2 lock. Take a look at some of these highlights as well, starting off with Shy's Graviton Surge. Kenobi set that up wonderfully. I mean, it's just dealing with Shy. When you have to recognize what's giving you the biggest problem in these compositions as a whole, you have to be able to play around the sightlines from the halt hook combos. If Hy-Vee can't be there to eat the halts, you have to be able to negate the length of which the hook can actually reach you, and then you have to be able to deal with the opposition that's giving you the biggest trouble, whether that's going to be the Baptiste, whether it's going to be the Mercy. Regardless of the matter, you have to, if you're going to be playing the dive tanks of Silver 3 and Hy-Vee, you have to be able to work your way and to be able to force the error from BLG to yourselves and be able to have Shy out in the open and lock down that individual. It's a lot of damage you can be able to mitigate just by eliminating that one individual.
So it kind of seems like you're kind of going with the argument of not just positioning, but taking advantage of any mistakes if they so occur. Kenobi, can you concur with that kind of assessment, or do you think it needs to be maybe a compositional swap? Because so far, T1W's had a really tough time against the comps that Bilibili have come out the gate with.
One of the things about T1W is sometimes their biggest enemy is themselves, where they won't switch compositions. And with Micha's on Brigitte here, and they're not playing Zarya themselves, so it was a really interesting decision for their composition that I don't necessarily think was the best going up against the composition BLG was bringing.
Fair enough. We'll see what adjustments get made. We'll send things to a break as we'll come back into the assault for map number 2 just after this. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We've got Bilibili and T1W. I would say locked up in a good one, but still taking a pretty convincing win on the control. We'll be heading to the assault next. And again, kind of just to wrap and give you the spark notes of our breakdown from our first one. It just feels like right now Bilibili are coming out just a touch more prepared and making just a slightly fewer mistakes so far.
I'm glad you used the word prepared, because in preparation for 2-2-2 that's coming around, listen, both these teams already know that they're going to be in the playoffs, and already seems pretty well versed going back to Mecha base for Bilibili Gaming as a whole is that, a Orisa Hog composition coming out on the double DPS. You saw them take the swap over to the Reaper as well with the Mei starting on McCree. We have a sub coming in here for Bilibili Gaming. Zijin is coming in for Winter as well. Going to be exciting to see what they end up playing around with this swap coming through as well. But to give you a little bit more of a spark note as well, me and Kenobi, we're wrapping a little bit. We were talking about the compositions and the stubbornness of T1W as a whole. To bring yourself back to the loss against LGD Gaming, this is the team that tried to force triple DPS onto second point Volskaya Industries for 3 fights over for way too long against the composition when they were allowing Wanli to wreck house on the McCree at the time. this is a very stubborn team. And even though you would think that going in from the Hackfist would probably be the best composition for them to being able to play, putting Mija onto the Doomfist, allowing him to find infinite more value than, say, well, the Brigitte, where they look incredibly uncomfortable on, they're not exactly the team to do it. They must understand that this is going to be their strongest composition going forward, but they're not going to be the ones that are going to swap to it. They like to play for their ultimates. They like to see how it's going to be played out. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to give your composition up, even after losing the first fight, resetting the ultimate economy on a composition that's going to find infinite more value.
Well, I mean, Mija, again, he's been through a roller coaster, I'm sure, of emotions when it comes down to 2019 as a whole, because he starts off with a very successful, one of the best Doomfists in the Chinese region. Doomfist gets obliterated by the patch after the first season. He's got to swap off of that and start learning new characters. And now all of a sudden, as we go to 2-2-2, like you mentioned, hey, there are times where Doomfist looks pretty good. So he's probably sitting there saying, what do I have to do? What heroes do I have to play just to be finding value? And like you mentioned, the Brigitte is not the most impactful character in the world. And I think you also hit it very properly. We talk about this a lot when it comes to T1W is sometimes they kind of pigeonhole themselves into forcing a 3-3 GOATS comp when it doesn't really make the most amount of sense. So as we go to Temple of Anubis, I'm really just looking for T1W that they don't fall into those old habits and those trends that got them through the majority of season 1, and they're able just to kind of come in and say, all right, Billy, we know you're going to come out prepared for us. Here comes something you might not be ready for.
Yeah, and speaking about all those heroes that Mija has been able to learn as well, I mean, we've seen the Torbjorn, we've seen Hanzo, Genji, found a lot of some... If not good value, yeah, Zarya's up there as well, but in the 2-2-2 sense, not going to be a hero that they're going to be able to flex onto. So, with that being said, it really comes down to just what heroes have you been able to learn outside of the Doomfist Mija, and which one can you find value on? You see, the Hog Orisa composition rolling straight out of the gate seems to be where Bilibili Gaming are finding a lot of comfort, if you will, and, well... Can I come back down to Shy with the McCree and Yakumo on to the Mei? Mija is on the Doomfist, but gets eliminated right off the rip.
And again, I think it's this decision-making. This is a very different look. Yes, Doomfist is still viable, but you have to play him so differently compared to when he was played at the beginning of the calendar year. And, well, you're seeing it. Mija not sure when he wanted to commit to actually jumping on in. And, well, Bilibili punish him, and they also find Silver 3 frozen up near the point. And now it's just icicle spam coming out into Wuya. And, well, again, no one's really able to contest this. A nice wall coming through, Illusion stunned up. And that'll be Bilibili again on the back end of Shy, finding a lot of value through McCree, finding Captured A very quickly.
Just a frog in the corner in the sandy dunes of Anubis. And very unfortunate stuff. So Silver 3 is going to swap over to the Reinhardt with Hybe on the Zarya. The Wrecking Ball and the Zarya composition is actually a pretty strong composition on a certain certain places in the Overwatch realm of maps. However... T1W and GZA trying to find value on point A of Temple of Anubis, not necessarily the play. Yeah. Shy finding Mija again, going for a very linear play.
You know, we again talked about the disruption that Mei brings, you know, when it comes to dive comps in specific. Shy does the same thing with things like flashbangs. The amplification matrix is here for Bilibili, and EMP will come through to try to counterattack this for T1W. What else can you follow up with? It's a nano boost. Mija able to finally take down the boon in his side, which has been Shy, and he's able to follow up on the Zijin as well. So the EMP will be good enough. And how about talking about committal to following up? There's no character better when it comes to following on an EMP than a Doomfist who's able to get there for free. They're going to stall out the Mei for as long as possible and even put them to sleep. And now it's just down to what else could you potentially build up in the meantime for T1W, because again, it's going to be really just down to the Graviton Surge for this next fight whenever it does occur.
Great discretion there from Mija. Was about to set up that final blow onto Yakumo, and then the Sleep Dart came through after the hack. And at that point, became a dog, put a muzzle on them was Yakumo. They're going to have ultimates. Bilibili Gaming will walking into this fight underneath the Valkyrie, then the Supercharger to follow. Plus the Blizzard soon to follow. They're going to have a 6-pack of ultimates by the end of this fight as well. But T1W, they do have the Graviton Surge to combat back through, and they have the Slam Jam combo with Mija's Meteor Strike as well.
And I think again, Mija, you need to find a way to start learning how to engage against Bilibili, who also have a lot of resources. Blizzard put on top of the bridge will freeze all the front line, and oh no chance for the grab to come out, no chance for the Meteor Strike to find much value. Mija will use it looking to try to find some kind of success in the backline, but he immediately gets pulled. That is the easiest read of Bilibili's career for Zijin, and just like that, capture at B will come through. Again, just really good Blizzard placement from Yakumo.
Yeah, fantastic as well, and well, just overall, just fantastic play in general from Bilibili Gaming. Walking, like I was setting up, walking under the Valkyrie, then you have the supercharger soon to follow, and it's just continuous damage boosting coming across the board as well, which just allows Shy to complete the charge of the Deadeye, and it's all just about controlling the space and setting yourself up on the point as well. Gotta tip my hat over to Zijin as well, coming in, playing, well, I mean, the same off tank that we saw Bilibili Gaming playing at the end of Busan as well, which is the Roadhog.
Yeah.
The Orisa Hog composition, obviously a very strong tank duo. Have yet to really see T1W.GZA, tap into those resources available, maybe in over preparation for this match specifically, but you have to think that Bilibili Gaming have been looking towards the future again. Not to beat a dead horse here, but they are looking great on a 2-2-2 composition on the McCree and the May, respectively. Even swapping over to the Reaper if need be could be Shy, but why would you? I mean, Shy has had a stellar career on playing a multitude of heroes like Kenobi was talking about in the break of after the first map. And well, so long as you're able to hit those shots and find impact with the stun or the flashbang as well onto Mija as they come flying in for a slam, well, that's good value to be found indeed.
So far, it feels like the notebook and the stat lines are becoming the MVP for Bilibili again. Just coming out of the gate with the McCree and a May just goes to show that they were expecting a Doomfist to be popped here in Temple of Anubis. And again, Mija only getting one real chance to make full value of that Doomfist. And even beyond that, there also wasn't a lot of value being found from the side
Shy
of the Sombra. And well, salt meet wounds as Shy finds the opening headshot into Wuya. He is able to get res, but again, that's a long cooldown for Illusion on this push that they want to do. And how about this wall again? Yakumo shutting down the early rotation and able to take down Molenrand. And now everybody is completely separated. Mija will at least try to find some kind of a pushback. Same thing with Silver 3, who finds a very cheeky little fluid move to get out of those windows as well. So at least the damage has been mitigated, but T1W are stalled out for the early push.
Just yeets himself right through that window. But T1W.GZA, this is what I was talking about going on from Sky Industries when they lost to LGD Gaming. This is the composition that they stuck on for a little bit too long of a style as well. We're going to have to see if they can find value in it on point A. But can they find infinite value onto point B soon after? Silver 3, again, getting way too aggressive, goes down from Coldest after being halted back and damage boosted as well. Bilibili Gaming playing this defense wonderfully thus far.
A lot of time off the board. Again, just take a look. Just the top right middle portion of your screen. 5 minutes, 8 seconds for Bilibili Gaming banked up. And T1W are going to have a very hard time even coming close to that unless they can find a successful push on this next attempt. But again, it just feels like if you're going to run this Doomfist composition, you really need to have some kind of ults and support to try to get him the ability to be effective. Molenrand dealing a lot of damage, but still pretty far away from the barrage, and Silver 3's caught out by himself. Again, there's just no one there to support him. Mija's dove into the background. Molenrand's doing what he can from the sides, and without the front line being here, T1W don't really have an opportunity to even contest, let alone find any progress at all on the point.
You know, the one thing after taking this much damage, so they're going to have support ultimates momentarily. Wuya is going to have that nano boost, probably going to be going over to Mija to find a little bit more mitigation as well, and well, Bilibili Gaming, you see Shy just controlling the high ground wonderfully. Gives up the space of the damage dealers to T1W to take over his peak and plateau as well. But over again, just marches into the mega pack and just finds Wuya right off the rip. T1W, they are having a hard time here until the barrage comes out.
And Barrage does find a lot of the front line for Bilibili, but not all of it, as Zijin will be kept alive by the Immortality Field and will use the self-heal to get himself back to full HP. Also has the whole hog. Nice little halt hook combination as Mika finds a clutch resurrection into over on the front line of Orisa. And now as the Valkyrie fades away for T1W, there will be an EMP behind it, but it only finds the front line. Mija does get boosted up. Is there enough damage possibility? The Mija of old coming into this new composition, and he's able to find himself 3 looking for the 4th. That's the Mija we came to know and love, and that'll be the bit of success that was needed for T1W to capitalize on A.
But how many times can Mija find these heroic values after the EMP came through from Hybe? So they didn't have any abilities to try to combat and back and through. It took 3 damage ultimates. It took double support ultimates as well from T1W, and now they're going to try to assault point B here against Bilibili Gaming. Shy goes over to the McCree for more stun value, as well as Mika onto the Brigitte. And when there's another Hall Hook combo, Silver 3 has the minefield available, but a sub 100 HP, you're not going to get that off anytime soon. Oh, he does,
or
but
will you? But why? Easiest immortality trigger that Coldest has ever used playing Baptiste, and well, that's a pretty free bit of mitigation. And another tool off the table for T1W. And man, it just feels like, again, for a lot of these frontliners that we've seen so far, it's just too much over-aggressive play. It was J-Mac previously. Now it's Silver 3, and big question marks are starting to develop as Mija tries to do a little bit of damage. But again, he can't commit without a frontliner being here.
And here we have the struggle yet again. T1W are going to try to find increasing value onto point B of an assault map. The hold hook combo comes through. Mija does find Mika, so the opening is here.
Just comes down to, do you use anything to really break this through? It's going to be Yakumo into the Blizzard, looking to get into the backline. Coldest, he'll be jumped on by a Meteor Strike, but he's able to stay alive with the Immortality Field for so long. He finally gets taken down. Mija able to find the Mega Pack, but again, the halt hook combination mid-air. Z able to find another one. It was the Pharah first. It's Illusion on the Mercy second. And again, T1W have nothing to be able to use besides to pop in here with potentially the nano boost, and they will actually get Mullen the barrage opportunity to find Yakumo, and then a couple little bits of damage at range. And now Mija again, this is where you can start to potentially pop off on Doomfist. He's able to find at least a little bit of value before he gets taken down. But again, this does not result in any progress on the point.
And look, Bilibili Gaming, again, they seem so well rehearsed on 2-2-2 so far. Mika is the one that goes over to the brick. Coldest is on the Baptiste, so the sustain is actually there. And while T1W, they have yet to find a single tick of progress. Thank you, T1W. Swapping your composition, they're going to a full 3-3, trying to break through to the 2-2-2 from Bilibili Gaming. They do have a supercharger, does Bilibili Gaming. They're about to have a Deadeye as well to combine with that, as well as Mika goes over to the Mercy, trying to give a little bit more of a resurrection. Scratch that, goes over to the Lucio.
Oh, and Silver tries to jump away, does get blocked for at least most of that movement from the wall that was placed, but it's not enough to get the full elimination. I think a lot of the resources were committed from Bilibili just to try to take down Silver 3 now that he's alive. Is there any possibility of fighting this back if you're Bilibili? Shy again with the Hellfire, trying to get himself involved with these shotguns, and he's finding a ton of damage. Very highly charged up is Mija, who have swapped over to the Zarya, but it's just not enough. Shy has found himself 3 in this engagement, and once again, Bilibili hold off, but more importantly, they do it without giving up any progress whatsoever.
What's the copy pasta that normally gets spammed in chats? You're just like, well, they're playing goats. Why not just play Reaper? He's got 2 shotguns. I don't see they're playing tanks. You know, Reaper finds tons of value in my comp games. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's really Yakumo with the Mei slowing down targets time and time again. That's fine. That's allowing Shy to find increasing value. Plus the Immortality Field and the Oversustain that's going to be able to be found. If you're trying to focus down the tanks, well, there's 2 Hellfire shotguns in your side as well. You try to focus down Shy, then you're going to get Hall Hook comboed. And while all being slowed, there's so many different oppositions that T1W have to worry about just to find value on point B, Temple of Anubis.
And trying to get his way out, the Wraith Walk was good for Shy to at least escape for a moment. Nice Immortality Field will keep a couple players alive. Shy coming back to full HP. He's very close to getting himself a Death Blossom, but meanwhile, Silver 3 puts himself into the Primal Rage. It's enough to keep everybody alive around the outside of the Death Blossom, and T1W with the Sound Barrier commit late should have enough damage to clean this up, and the numbers as well. Yakumo doing what he can to stall, but his over falls away. Yakumo's not going to get anything done, you would think, on the Mei. And now it's just essentially down to what happens from here for T1W. Can you finally close things out? Immortality Field plus the Blizzard has allowed Bilibili to come back into the fight. And now it's for Zijin. Can he push everybody back? He's very close to a whole hog. And goodness, we're down to 60 seconds. Just about everything was used for T1W. And now for Bilibili, they're able to push back and only give away 1 tick of progress.
Oh, you know, this is just a giant slap in the face to Mija as well. Shy comes out on the Doomfist and finds increasing value. He's going to have a Meteor Strike to their name as well. Illusion and Wuya both used their support ultimates in the last fight, so they had nothing to combat against the Blizzard that came out from Yakumo on the recontest, only finding 46.3% so far. This is last fight territory for T1W to find the last bit of point B.
Rally as the players were separated from the ice wall coming out. Zijin trying to open things up with a whole hog, able to take down Silver 3. Self-destruct sequence will find nothing besides over shield. This is last fight territory coming in. Bilibili looking to clean things up and send this to what would be a 2-0. Mija not giving it up yet. Bilibili with the Sound Barrier coming in to keep everybody alive. Now the Blizzard coming in to follow up. Shy's doing a pretty nice job of keeping everybody away, but is anyone going to get caught by this Blizzard? It seems like no, as Wuya is able to pull together a Transcendence, but as the Graviton Surge comes down for Mija, it's an ice wall to block the line of sight, so Bilibili stays stays alive and stays healthy. Shy looking to get their way into the pilot. D.Va will find one, but it's MiGZA who's still staying alive and dealing a ton of damage with the Zarya. And now the support line for T1W starting to get involved as they find the entirety of the front line of Bilibili. And if they can find the target prioritization, the numbers should be good for T1W to send us to a next point. But again, this is going to be an overtime. And so that means Bilibili will only be allowed to give one more push through. And maybe a full hold will come through for a draw, but that's the only condition in front of T1W as they're still struggling to put this one away. They've made very little progress past the second point, Panda.
Stall target, stall heroes coming out as well, over getting the corner pin as well, does not connect with anybody after Zijin gets more stall time on to, or from the wrecking ball, excuse me, and it just allows for Mika, you see, skating up in the rafters of point B. Yakumo cannot make it back in time to ice block on the point. And like you had said, Shift, this is going to be one tick needed here for Billy Gaming to win out Temple of Anubis after all that time had been exhausted from T1W's attack.
Again, Kenobi, a lot of things to be considered. It was kind of a tale of two halves for MiGZA on his Doomfist. A very slow start, but then we saw glimmers and a little bit of a look to the past as far as what MiGZA is able to provide on this Doomfist when he gets the opportunity to really pop off.
Yeah, and his Zarya actually at the end there didn't look too bad either, which has been something that we've seen throughout this season. Is he's looked much improved when he plays that Zarya. But a lot of what T1W's composition was about was they win fights when MiGZA pops off, and that's really all they had at that moment. MiGZA has to carry them in some way because the rest of the team just isn't getting it done. Silver 3 is getting picked up really early in fights, trying to dive into, May hog Orisa as a ball. You're not gonna, that's not like the best scenario to be in. You're gonna get frozen, hooked, and then you'll probably just get blown up. So I think for the side of T1W, I would have liked to have seen some swaps a little bit earlier towards this coach composition instead of trying to stick with the 3-3 or triple DPS rather, and hoping that MiGZA is going to pop off, because that's putting a lot of pressure onto MiGZA that he sometimes just isn't able to pop off like that because of how BLG, from what they did, they ran a really good comp against all of this, and they were countering him very well.
Well, we'll see if that storyline continues here again. Best case scenario is a draw for T1W. Bilibili only need one tick of progress, like you mentioned, Panda. And they're going to come out with the exact same thing that they were able to find their first attack. I mean, why not? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, pretty much. And, well, you're going to have to see how MiGZA wants to take the course of this attack this time around, not going for the linear slam right into the archway, into a flashbang. But Coldest finds the pick onto Illusion. Here comes the slam, the bubble onto MiGZA to keep them alive. Answers back, so I'm going to be able to push this back momentarily. But, again, they're still about to have 4 minutes, and 4 minutes and 30 seconds as well when they started off with 5, Alan. And that's quite a lot of time to be holding off for 33% for a full hold on Temple of Anubis in overtime here. And, well, they have the composition to do it. Now they have a slight ultimate advantage as well. It's going to come down to the Amp Matrix that's going to be completed first from Coldest. Molaron's going to have an EMP soon after.
Oh, nice wall. The entirety of the front line for T1W caught out, and they will have to sacrifice the nano boost just to keep the front line alive of Hybe, and at least Silver 3 is able to get out as well. So just like this, actually, T1W takes a very bad situation and sends it to something a little bit more manageable. How about that? Fan the hammer from Shy midair against MiGZA, and well, I was feeling a little bit more optimistic than maybe I should have about T1W. They did the right stuff as far as trying to keep everyone involved, but all you need is one tick of progress. A nice little flashbang midair, no chance for illusion touch. It's just down to finding Hybe. That'll do it. God. Shy does so much damage, and T1W will not be able to find the draw. It would have been a tall ask, though, to be honest. 5 minutes plus. Defend one tick of progress. And goodness, I'll tell you, again, this Bilibili squad looks like they really do have T1W completely figured out.
Yeah, you start the round off with 4, and then you bounce yourself all the way up to 5. Kenobi, what do you think about that game?
That was a really quick series. Quick round. I mean, I feel like I just talked to you guys like 30 seconds ago. It looked like.
You did.
But,
yeah, actually.
Yeah. I think that BLG has the complete read right now on anything T1W wants to do in terms of their compositions, right? We see MiGZA on the Doomfist they played, to give credit to T1W, they played this first part of the map a lot better on their second defense, because the first time they played that first defense, they got absolutely mollywopped because MiGZA got picked very early, and this time MiGZA's actually getting resources to keep him alive so that he doesn't just go in and die by himself. Unfortunately, though, there is someone on the side of BLG called Shy, and Shy is very good at what he does and pretty much anything that he plays, and they're on the McCree. I really like this McCree pick from Shy in particular, because he knows that there's a lot of dive that's coming in from the side of T1W, right? You have the Hammond who's coming in to dive on you. You have the not Winston. You have the Doomfist as well. So just so much CC options for BLG that pretty much hinder any pop-off moments that Micha has, unless there's something like an EMP that can negate a lot of those cooldowns.
Now, we've seen a lot of interesting interactions, I think, from what at one point in time, like J-Mac from our previous set, and now Silver 3. Again, these dive frontliners that do not have a diva to follow up with them. Kenobi, are you seeing just some unfamiliarity when it comes to playing as not only a solo frontliner, but a solo dive frontliner for some of these Chinese teams that were so prevalent on running dive frontliners from before with a diva in support?
I think for this match specifically, one of the things that they don't seem, as we're going to see some highlights here, is they don't seem to have a good idea of how to play against the bunker comp, which is the really biggest issue here. We see a lot of deep dives from High B and Silver 3 when they're going in very aggressively. They're pushing past chokes, and they aren't keeping track of if May has wall, because we saw in that last fight before BLG took that point, they go very deep with Silver 3 and High B. They get walled off, which forces Nano, which forces cooldowns to try and keep them alive. Cooldowns that you probably are going to be wanting to save for other moments in the fight. And then after that, you've lost every single resources, and it's very easy for the side of BLG to just clean up a fight. So I think it's some unfamiliarity with the comp they're running, as well as some I can't get that one out. They just don't know how to. They just don't know how to run against the halt hook combo.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, too, I mean, I want to go back to talk about Shy's McCree, too. It plays to the strengths of how good Shy is as a DPS player, but it also plays against the strengths of T1W as a whole. The dive targets, even the Sombra as well from Run, cannot find value in getting anywhere close to both the Mei and the McCree from Shy as well. So T1W, they're going to have to rethink their course of action going against Bilibili Gaming in the latter half of this series.
We'll find out exactly how things will go as we will send over to our halftime break. When we come back, it will be, I believe, Numbani for the hybrid map and map number 3. Welcome back, everybody, as we have ourselves, I won't say a very close one, but hopefully this is one that will develop a little bit further on as T1W. Kenobi had said it previously, Panda. They seem to be the enemies of themselves when it comes to either playing compositions that don't work or forcing themselves into positions that also find themselves making a lot of mistakes. So far, I won't say it's been a lot of mistakes. There's been some great moments for T1W, but Bilibili are just looking absolutely clean and polished here.
Absolutely, and that's the one thing you got to be terrified of when you're going into plus, whether you're going to be facing Bilibili Gaming in the near future or not. It's just a terrifying roster, man. Even with No Smite and Bazi making their way to the Overwatch League, playing for Hangzhou Spark, Bilibili Gaming, the academy team of that Overwatch League team, in case you forgot. But, as well, going to be having a sub coming in across the board. Going to have Zijin going out. Winter is back in, so maybe a little bit of a some nuttiness, some silliness going to be able to come back out. Maybe some triple DPS, you never really know. But again, when we had when Winter was in there with Yakumo and Shy, regardless, they still defaulted back to the halt hook combo with the Mei, the Reaper, and the McCree as well. It just looks so well rehearsed from Bilibili Gaming. As you take a look at this this map pool, Bilibili Gaming winning Control 2-0, and then Anubis 3-2, taking that last tick when they had 5 minutes to do so. Now we are traveling into our hybrid map of Numbani. A little bit more high ground oriented can be the first and second point, but that third point especially could be excruciating for dive heroes to try to find any sort of value on. But the one thing that you always have to be terrified of so far, if you're T1W, you got to be shaking in your boots of going against that bunker composition.
And I think that's really kind of, I'm actually really glad that we're going here because you hit it properly. We're expecting a bunker to be coming out from Bilibili. They've done it before. They'll probably do it again. But I think this is going to provide a very good test for T1W when they get onto the attack. So, you know, as we already see, there's a Winston that'll be coming out with a pharmacy combination and at least a Hanzo for now. We'll see how long that stays into play. And honestly, is there going to be a bunker set up for the side of the defense here? I thought I saw an Orisa over to the right. A little bit hard to tell for now, but it looks like indeed it will be T1W running themselves Orisa, but the Orisa is by themselves with triple DPS behind it, and Winter's already looking pretty solid here. Oh, goodness, the illusion. He must have saw that rocket was right on by because it looked like it was about to connect before they faded through. Yakumo able to take down Mija, and, well, Bilibili off to a nice start here on their first attack.
Yeah, Lucian's going to be able to res up Mija, but that just means that there's a lack of healing if Woya has to be in the middle of a reload sequence. And, well, that enables Winter to fly around for free. Mija with the Storm Arrow, consider that to be a machine gun, actually shoots Winter out of the sky.
And essentially just saying my second life will be better than my first for Mija as he wants to try to find the Winston before he can get away. A little wall jump coming through. Shy, 1v1 bow fight, taking us back to medieval times. And Shy is just getting so much damage. 1 HP will catch the heal from Mika, and Bilibili are still keeping the pressure on as over. Hits the trigger on the Primal Rage. Will be slept for the duration of, I'm sure, the most of that channel. But headshot from Shy. Dragons get called out to try to zone away the street while they deal with the pharmacy combination. At least they're trying to. Molinran, though, being boosted, is not taking hardly any damage whatsoever. And there might be some heroics here in Molinran as he's looking to get right into the coldest, who will throw a biotic grenade at his feet to get himself not only healed, but also to find the accumulation of the kill that he was needed to take this one down. And it looks like Bilibili will finally secure point A.
1 tick was already gained here for Bilibili Gaming, but 2 minutes about to be exhausted off the clock as well. We're about to be reaching into the ultimate phase. Over 3 comes back on to the Wrecking Ball. Gonna have to see if they go back to spawn and even swap off as well. It's gonna be really hard to combat into this next fight with this Wrecking Ball. It's not gonna go back to swap and give up the space as well. Ultimate phase coming through here as well. Mija again finds Winter, and that's a really good pick. Can you guard the res? You can't, but the Dragon Strike comes through.
This is a nice little startup for T1W early on in this payload push. They throw out a couple of ultimates, but honestly, it's full value. I think you take those. And now as Mija, again, he's been a little bit hot and cold, to be honest. It's been 1 life bad, 1 life good. This time through, he's able to help assist in T1W's early setup. And now Hybe, with the Sombra, has just earned himself an EMP to potentially, again, continue this defensive effort.
And T1W, they have nothing to stop that EMP comes through. Hits 3.
And it just comes down to, can you follow up behind this? Over, not quite able to get away with that one, as there was no support really able to get himself the healing needed. Shy, Dragons get called out, and Hybe able to translocate away just in the nick of time by the looks of it. And now he's all of a sudden looking at the back line, at least getting information and doing what he can to try to deal again with this pharmacy combination. He's able to hit down Winter and boost up his Molinran, who's had a very impressive performance thus far on the far up. Granted, a lot of these kills that he's been finding here in these engagements have been a little bit towards the end of the actual fights themselves. So once again, T1W hold on, and they have a barrage plus a Valk to pop for this next potential push.
Inside the chaos is where T1W.GZA flourish. They're going to have a minefield plus the barrage to combat into this next fight underneath the Valkyrie, so a certain amount of sustain can be there. Shy, recognizing that Wuya doesn't have as much protection as they would once hope, onto the Tracer can find a lot of value because there's nobody gets on the field whatsoever. Nano Boost is already out from Coldest.
Winter able to take down Mija early on. Barrage ready to go. Probably not even going to need it as, again, Winter cleaning things up, saying, all right, Molinran, we're seeing that your Pharah is doing rather well for us. Winter is able to get himself involved to make sure that at least there's consideration. Back and forth, Silver 3 goes to stall out as much time as possible, but finally this payload will start to get moving forward again.
A nice little funny dance there in the ball form. Going to be able to exhaust a few ultimates away from T1W.GZA. Bilibili Gaming on the solo tank Winston. Again, looking for that backline pressure. It just comes down to which target is going to be isolated away. Again, there's not that much protection away from the Sleep Dart and the Storm Arrow to help out the backline of T1W.GZA. They really have to play this methodically to wait for the backline to, or wait for the dive to come in, and then they can take the fight through.
Over, though, puts himself in the Primal Rage, able to take down Molinran, and part of the illusion as Shy is able to find Molinran. Winter, again, still holding out of this barrage, and again, he doesn't need to use it here. This is Bilibili just finding themselves an advantage. Again, just splitting T1W not only in two, but putting the two ends of the head and tail completely apart from one another. And T1W just having a really hard time sticking together. That was where they were so successful in the first half of this map, and so far, Bilibili have found a way to keep them from doing the same.
And this is something you really hate to see. Mija is actually forced. If it's not Molinran who does have the barrage, it has to be Mija going over to the Brigitte to help out the backline of Wuya. Cannot be taken into these dives through and through. Shy's going to probably look for this post bomb and then swap back over. Here comes the post bomb. It's actually going to be stuck on a Mija. Yeah. That's something you really hate to see. Plus the barrage. And again, my God.
It's a war on two fronts right now, Panda. It's the EMP all the way in the back. It's the pulse bomb to the players up front. And Bilibili again tearing through T1W as the end is in sight, but T1W have a lot of tools here to potentially contest this. They have a barrage of their own plus an EMP for Hybe. It just comes down to, will they be able to get this EMP off in time? Here it comes, and it finds 4, able to take the Pharah out of the air, but no one's really looking at it completely. Molinran with the barrage, able to find 1 in his counterpart. Silver 3 dealing with, again, another area of this fight as Molinran is sleeping for the time being, but it looks like Mija on that Brigitte will find some value. A nice little boop up with the seismic slam coming through from Silver 3, or pardon me, the pile driver coming through. And just grappling on into the last player left alive, but realizing that there's no way you catch Yakumo after the translocate. So T1W just take their wins and set themselves up for the next defense.
And I really like the discretion from Ouya there, holding on to the nano boost on the Ana as well. Have to use that very defensively because there's no defensive ultimate for T1W.GZA. Shy swapping over to the McCree now, over to the Orisa. It's going to be a full hold hook combo. Yakumo very close to this EMP as well. Can find a strong standing in there before Illusion can actually pop the Valkyrie. That's when you want to be hitting that trigger.
Shy looking to try to keep Silver 3 at bay, but Hybe from behind actually being a very nice distraction. Shy will be able to get himself back to full HP, but has to worry about this minefield. Playing a little bit of Minesweeper. Game inside the game here. And again, Bilibili are stalled out for now. And boosted up goes Mullen, and he dives right on in. No barrage needed as he finds the entirety of the backline and is still dealing tons of damage. A nice little committal call there for T1W as Mullen plays hero once again.
Yeah. Nano boost there. Gonna be able to get Moleran a certain amount of sustain as well. Ground Pharah, best Pharah. Finding tons of direct rockets as well. But that allows Bilibili Gaming to continue to build their ultimates and stack themselves up. You see a lot of teams struggle with this point as well, is that when they get to this last point, they start throwing in one ultimate and then a second one to try to find continuous value into the fight. Not Bilibili Gaming. They're stacking their ultimates, whether it's a choice or not. Hybe's going to have the EMP to try to take them all away.
Kumo slipping into the back line. He sees the targets that he wants. It just comes down to hitting at the right time. Will translocate to the top ropes, able to find 5. Hybe's got one that he could potentially respond with, and there it is. It takes down 4. It just comes down to who's able to follow up better, as there's an even trade thus far. Rez coming through. We'll get Hybe back into the mix, and a nice pull from Mija. Now the barrage from Pharah of Mullen to try to get some extra damage in, and we're below 26 seconds. And T1W are looking really solid to hold this, as they'll have a nano boost here in a very hot second.
Mija actually swapping over to the Hog themselves, so a Hog combo on both sides. Oh, I'm sorry, no, Bilibili Gaming actually dropped their Hog last fight. Yeah, they swapped to the Brig for more backline help as well. Gonna have to see if they swap back over here. Probably not, because this is last fight territory. 5 seconds left on the board, and Bilibili Gaming, they're gonna have to hit the gas soon rather than later. They have no speed boost to touch a point. It's gonna come down to Yakumo and Winter, but Winter goes down real fast.
He needed to get there to contest, and Over was not able to get there in time. But the supercharger comes in. Winter gets pulled back up, but Shy tries to pull out the Deadeye. Does get taken down, and well, now it's a 50-50 fight. Silver 3 still holding his ground close to a supercharger of his own. Halt hook combination misses just a touch for T1W. Trying to do one of their own as Bilibili, but a nice biotic grenade comes through for both teams, really, as Valkyries are popping. Here's the supercharger late in the mix for the side of T1W again here in overtime, looking for a way to push these last couple of players off the point. And as Over falls, you think also are the chances of Bilibili to complete the map, and they will be stalled out here just short of the 3rd point. Bring in Kenobi here for this analysis. And Panda, I believe your microphone is muted, so let's get our boy in really quickly as we're at the halfway point. Kenobi, thoughts so far?
This looks a lot better actually from T1W, and the main reason I think is because Eren is on his trusty Pharah. Eren, since we've known him in Chinese Contenders, going way back to season 2 of last season, has always been a pretty phenomenal Pharah player. Has very good understanding of the kit, the mobility, and how far you can go without basically dying and feeding over some ultimate charges to the enemy team. And there, he's also getting the resources now, which is really important because he's getting those resources, getting the nano. We talked about it on Cash Shift. He gets that nano and just plays aggressive with it and takes it to BLG, something that I think T1W should do a little bit more in this series if they want to have a chance to win. And the other thing is we saw Micha's Hog. Micha is on Hog. He's playing a lot of things today. He played the Hanzo, he played the Zarya, he's playing the Hog now. So the fact that he can actually move over to this Hog, and it doesn't look terrible. He seems to have some good coordination with Silver 3. So going into 2-2-2 lock, when we look to the future, if Micha can continue to play Hog and play it at this level, I think it's going to be very good for T1W, letting Eren and Hybe be the carry DPS players that they can.
Well, thank you, Kenobi, for the insight. We're about to swap the sides. Panda, you had some things to say. So now that your microphone's unmuted, let's just take a listen to see what you were trying to get at.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually going to hit the same point, too. I mean, if Mija can play the Hog, that's one thing to consider as well. But let's not forget that Hybe is the, the technical off-tank for T1W.GZA as well.
Sure.
So when you go into the 2-2-2 lock, swapping in between the D.Va and the Rotohog, that can definitely cause some struggles for T1W.GZA. And this is why I'm very concerned for them, because you can see Bilibili Gaming, they seem a little bit more committed to how they want to play the 2-2-2 composition. But take a look at the way that they're playing on this defense. Very aggressive dive coming in to meet Yakumo, who finds a hack on the Hybe very quickly.
I like it. Again, Bilibili are sitting here saying, we know that you're trying to set up a Hanzo and a Pharah. Let's just get into your face and make sure that your life is very uncomfortable. But meanwhile, T1W take that opportunity to just break through the back door. As Mija's here, so is Silver 3, at least for a small time. And, you know, just insert comment about Silver 3 being essentially by himself again, as Mija couldn't fully commit because the support line wasn't there. So Bilibili will sustain for now, but pressure is still mounting here for T1W as they haven't soft reset. They're staying in the mix, and they're just looking to get some damage dealt. And all of a sudden, over in a touch of trouble, will be able to fade back away from the high ground. And now with Bilibili is a full 6-man force and fully healed up, T1W going to have to find another way to break.
Silver 3 can't go into this backline alone. I mean, you're going to get shield bashed, you're going to get hacked, you're going to get obliterated by Shy, who's sitting up at high charge as well, and well, Mija is going to be met by that as well. You see Shy, 90%, that's a high charge Zarya, deals a Mola run by themselves, going to have a Graviton search for the next fight. T1W.GZA, they're on an Ana and Mercy support composition. They have no defensive ultimate whatsoever, so it's going to come down to being able to deal with it with raw damage alone, or they're just going to have to say, good fight, just end up taking the eliminations and going back to spawn and going into the next engagement. But Mija is about to have the meteor strikes. This next engagement can be explosive within its own self. It's just getting through Bilibili Gaming's tank ultimates as well.
And for T1W, I'm just interested to see what the decision-making is going to be when it comes down to when do you boost and when do you potentially pop the Valk. Looks like the answer will be right now. Barrage up close and personal. Mija completely stalled out, trades back and forth. Numbers do favor that, though, of T1W. Over in the Primal Rage, has to fade away. He's only got 200 HP, so has to back away from the fight as a whole, as T1W will start making some progress on A. Silver 3 able to stay alive was the big key to success in this push, as T1W will find at least 2 ticks of progress. It just comes down to will Billy even contest this. Looks like they're going to give one more effort to it. Dragons coming down Main Street might be decent to zone, but they're a touch low. Silver 3 also zoning out the backline, and Mija able to convert on the opportunity to take down Over. And it was a nice effort for Bilibili, but just really well read from T1W, as they should be able to close things out with Mija on this Doomfist. Again, we trust that he's going to be able to find the kills, and he sure will, even into one of the mainstay counter picks to Doomfist in Winter's Brigitte. But again, point 8, taken, 3:45 on the clock for stage 2.
Yeah, going in with the whole 3 cooldown combo there. The Mija special, I suppose, the Doomfist platter. Hybe going over to the Brigitte, though, so I'm going to be giving a little bit more backline support for Wuya. Illusion as well over to the Lucio. Going to have to see if T1W start taking swaps across the board after these ultimates are fully used. Shy back over to the Zarya, but it was a really well play there for Bilibili Game to give up 2 ticks in an attempt to try to go back for the recontest. Silver 3, again, having a hard time finding value on the Wrecking Ball as a whole against Yakumo on the
Big
Sombra.
Hack into stun. Silver 3 has to get out. EMP to follow up a lot of crowd control going into into the side of T1W, and Silver 3 almost able to escape, but not quite able to get there. And now all of a sudden Over, he'll be boosted up. He's also got a sound barrier in his back pocket, plus a Primal Rage if he needs it, which he will not for this fight. And well, he's just going to clear out some of these mines, and Bilibili will set up right in a similar spot that T1W were able to for the second point defense.
Silver 3 not swapping either. That's very concerning for me. Because again, just getting bashed, getting hacked, getting absolutely obliterated. That's just free ult charge over to Shy, who's at 62% to the Graviton Surge after taking swaps across the board. Here comes the Translocator, and the EMP comes through, but it only finds 3.
But it seems to be enough, as Mija is able to find an opportunity to take down not only the Brigitte, but also the Zarya and Shy. Numbers still favor T1W, but Bilibili looked to seem to want to fight this, and maybe a soft and disengage would have been more well received, as it's a pretty easy cleanup for T1W. And yeah, you mentioned it, the EMP not the highest of value when it comes to targets that we're connected with, but it was enough to allow Mija to pop off in the front line.
Yeah, shutting down Shy's charge is probably the most impactful part of that EMP as well, making them fully reset back down to 0. Can't even make it back to the point in time. Oh, they just do. Actually, the rally's right there. Bilibili Gaming right on the point to push T1W back.
T1W, though, soft reset, trying to get healthy. Mija, Meteor Strike, try to get on top. He actually lands on top of the light pole, which is an interesting interaction, but at least he's able to get himself back towards full HP. So again, as the soft reset extends through, T1W with the rally looking to come right back at this one. Bilibili trying to do damage in the backline, but Mija coming to save the day for Wuya, who now has been able to farm up a nano boost. When do you pop this? He's looking for an opportunity. A big biotic grenade also coming down for Wuya, and all of a sudden, even though he is hacked, the Graviton Surge comes through, but no one's going to get killed through this from Bilibili, with the exception of Mija, who does eventually get killed on the back end of it, but still, T1W have the numbers. Just need a little bit of extra progress to finish this off, but Shy near full charge is not giving up this payload. It just comes down to will there be enough damage to convert. So far, it seems we know a nice biotic rate again from Wuya. That's about 3 in a row that he's been able to turn into some big advantages for T1W. The sound barrier now, plus the EMP, and Bilibili will melt right in front of the second point defense.
It's a really good fight there for Bilibili Gaming, getting a lot of resources out from T1W, the EMP plus the nano boost, although we are halfway to another one as well. Illusion had to invest the sound barrier as well. They are still staying on to this composition. Again, going back, T1W, one of the more stubborn teams in Chinese contenders, to try to find continuous value on triple DPS. One last ride, I suppose, until they're locked into a 2-2-2 composition. However, Bilibili Gaming, because of the length of that fight, they're going to have tank ultimates on the board as well. The Winston Zarya composition somehow finding a tremendous amount of value against T1W. High B especially going over to the brig, trying to lock down any sort of dive silliness coming out from Bilibili Gaming. Here comes the sound barrier to initiate.
Aggressive sound barrier right into the face of the rally for T1W. Mija gets stunned out of juggling his opponent in midair. Looks to set up the rocket punch.
Wow.
That's going to do nicely as he pushes him right back into the minefield of Silver 3. And just like that, the numbers are looking great for T1W. They'll sit here and admire the gorilla on the floor for a second. Mullen ran, rezzed back up, and T1W back to a full 6-man looking to close out the map.
Oh, now that Silver 3 is able to really cinch their teeth into the backline, it's finding increasing value in getting so many resources out. The touch does come through, the EMP soon to follow.
Plus Primal Rage, Silver 3 taken down. Mija
God.
causing havoc in the backline again, just juggling his opponents time and time again. Barrage is zone off the payload, and no, not able to get back in time off. The respawn was over, and T1W able to just narrowly find Numbani under their grasp. But honestly, this is the best we've seen T1W play, and I don't want to solely hinged off the fact that Mija finds value with the Doomfist, but that was definitely a key part of it.
It's just about getting the resources out, and that's what I'm talking about. Silver 3 getting a lot of resources out, allowing Mija to be able to get into the backline and find those cooldowns.
Kenobi, thoughts on our boy Mija as he essentially is just having a victory lap here on Doomfist?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible what you can do with Mija when you have your cooldowns, right? Like, it's a hero that is based almost entirely off of cooldowns. Your primary fire really doesn't do anything besides confirm kills. But the fact that they have a lot of these people for T1W, that Yakumo is having a rough time figuring out who he needs to hack. He's either trying to hack Silver 3, who's diving into the backline and going very deep and getting that. But once he does that, there's just a follow-up from the rest of the team, right? Mija can just do whatever he wants because there's no threat of hack anymore. Mo and Eren can do as well. So Yakumo had a very rough time, I think, on Sombra on that map. Had some EMPs that weren't my favorite. The follow-up from BLG, not the greatest either with their ultimate economy sometimes. So I think for T1W, this is good for them, especially because we're going into this fourth map where Doomfist also can be played a little bit more. And if Yakumo continues to have some of these troubles that he's been having on the Sombra and not finding the right hack prioritization, then this definitely could go towards a map 5.
I think the biggest thing that we're seeing as far as the differences of Mija's Doomfist in previous maps versus this one is, again, like you mentioned, he's able to initiate as Doomfist this time around, where his frontliners were essentially going with him, where previously it really felt like it was Mija had to wait for his frontliners to get there. So is this potentially a misread, I think, Panda, as far as the composition for Bilibili on their defense in specific? Would you rather have seen them play something a little bit more bunker friendly to try to deal with the Doomfist?
It's a hard question to truly answer, but at the end of the day, I just think it comes down to T1W playing their triple DPS really well. As you saw those highlights coming through, the composition on the defense was the Winston and the Zarya, so it allows Over to try to find value in a dive sense, to try to go into the very vulnerable backline that T1W has. More importantly, trying to get out Wuya, but that allows Silver 3 to go in for the counter dive, which then allows Mija to go into the backline that much further uncontested. And that's truly how you want to play a triple DPS, especially around a very strong Doomfist player that we know Mija to be.
Well, again, map 4 coming up. Bilibili have looked like they're in control so far, but T1W bouncing back on Numbani. Will we see them close things here and maybe potentially send things to a map 5, or will Bilibili stay undefeated without any extra innings? We'll find out when map 4 comes up just after this. Welcome back, everybody. Potentially the final map of the regular season, unless T1W can find themselves a victory in the pure escort and send things to map 5. It would be a nice little icing on the cake, but let's be candid with it. So far, Bilibili have looked to be the better team. T1W had a couple of shining moments there in Numbani, but it was a close one, to be completely candid. Again, Bilibili fractions away from finishing the map. T1W just being able to get the payload over the finish line.
Until those finer moments as well, like you were mentioning out, they had those brighter spots of allowing Silver 3 to basically absolutely obliterated by a multitude of cooldowns from Bilibili's backline, which has allowed Mijia to have the open ticket to being able to find the support of Bilibili Gaming, and that's exactly what you expect to see from T1W.GZA, and this is their bread and butter, right? That you expect them to find. Enable their DPS players of Mullerun, and for Mijia to be able to find continuous value. It's going to be able to be their win condition to come through, and going to have to see if they can end up pushing it that much further, all the way over to the escort as well. Something that you even asked me as the sign-off on our hybrid map as well. Should the bunker composition try to be a little bit stronger as well? Well, thinking about it, yeah, probably. I mean, you bring yourself all the way back to Busan. It seems to be where Bilibili Gaming's practice is really held tight. As you take a look at the map pool, we are headed to Havana. And, well, especially for defense and attack, we've even seen all the way up to the Overwatch League. The Orisa can be pretty darn strong here.
Absolutely can. And not just during certain moments of this map, for just about the entirety of this map. So we'll see what comes out this time through. I think the biggest question mark is what else can T1W offer us to this 2-2-2, essentially. Or at least, not obviously fully diving into it right now, but at least considerations for what might be successful for them. Because again, both these teams have secured themselves playoff spots. This comes down to seeding at this point. So for me, for T1W, I want to see something different. How do you approach this halt hook combination? Can you find a way to break this without just relying on Mijia popping off?
I think you definitely want to put a certain amount of resources into Mijia being able to find at least any sort of value as you see them hanging out on the defense with that same 3-2-1 composition. The solo tank Silver 3, triple support with 2 different damage dealers as well. But Bilibili Gaming coming out here on the bunkerish composition with Coldus and Mika, the Baptiste and the Mercy, seems to be very strong, allowing Shy to have that flashbang in their pocket. There's a really shut down the dive that comes through. It's just another tool in the backline for Bilibili Gaming to deal with both Silver 3, Mijia, or even all 3. You add Mullerun in that mix as well. You see right there, almost getting eliminated.
And actually, Silver 3 gets frozen, but the target priorization says go for the support line first, and man, is that brilliant from Bilibili. But Mijia works his way in to try to follow up, able to take down Shy before the high noon can come fully out, but Mika will find the res. Mijia will get pulled in. Not enough shielding involved with the damage he was able to find, and Bilibili will keep moving his payload forward.
Yeah, and again, it seems to be the name of the game. You have the focus come down. Frozen Silver 3. Flashbang comes out already. In the Deadeye, Mijia will find value, but in the end, in the length of that fight, it's going to be Bilibili Gaming. They have more than enough resources to be able to push them through, even though the Deadeye does get negated.
Now, all of a sudden, boosting coming out for T1W. They want to hold on to this first point as much as possible. Mijia goes up for the high ground, has to rocket fist back over to his teammates, though, because, again, the front line of Silver 3 is not quite there yet. He has to get healed back up. There is potentially an EMP plus a minefield. And, Mullen ran. What happened right there? He tries to hit the EMP, but gets stunned by, I believe, the flashbang from Shy. What an awareness play for Bilibili, but it doesn't seem to make much of a difference as Mullen ran is able to pick together 2, and the Silver 3 front line starts to go on in. The pile driver comes out. And, oh, man, that was looking like a highlight play for Shy for a moment, but T1W is still able to follow up.
Yeah, even though that T1W do win that fight outright, we are still exhausted to under 2 minutes. Bilibili Gaming will have a set amount of ultimates to be playing around with. Winter's actually going to drop the hog, fly high in the sky as a Pharah. Well, there's no direct hit scan as opposed to deal with T1W outside of Wuya scoping in with the biotic rifle, but Bilibili Gaming can drop the supercharger plus the Deadeye as well, can freeze things up with the Blizzard. They have to overinvest resources if they want to go into the distillery of Havana.
Now, it will be Shy coming back forward, trying to get another Deadeye off, but he gets taken to a nap. Not going to make too much of a difference, though. Bilibili, the damage is already there at the beginning of this fight. So Shy probably a touch frustrated, but it won't result in too much of a distraction outside of just, the frustration of having earned 2 ultimates, not really able to get either of them off yet. Bilibili will secure the first checkpoint, and here we go into this distillery of our second stage.
That's right. Having to use both DPS ultimates as well, or to the 2 that were online, plus a supercharger. But Bilibili Gaming do have support ultimates available. T1W are working their way up. The EMP is going to have to be used to counteract the amplification field. Never mind, using it pretty early.
Yeah, it only really finds the pharmacy combination. So, Bilibili, can you fight this back? The Valkyrie is still in effect. Shy able to take down Hybe. Here comes opportunity number 3. And, well, Shy, maybe you just disbind your Q key because so far nothing's been going all that well for you. Again, though, Bilibili able to at least follow up. So call it zoning tactics, call it whatever you wish. Bilibili are still finding a way to keep this payload moving.
Yeah, you're so vulnerable when you're going to the Deadeye animation as well, so Shy has to understand that as well. It's more of a bait to get T1W to dive on top of him and try to find backline to forward value. Bilibili Gaming doing a better job, but this is a very low skybox here for Winter to try to find value with this barrage. Pulls it out. Oh, Wuya. See you later.
He is able to get the nano boost off before he falls, though. So an opportunity for Hybe to be that raid boss like we continually say, but the ice wall will peel everybody away. And each team will head back to their corners, get themselves healed back up, and then look to fight once more. Mija, stunned, pulled, everything, and Shy and Yukumo. Well, again, Shy, just don't even hit the Q key. Just keep left-clicking. That's all you need to do. His shots are online, and again, it's not necessarily anything that T1W is doing wrong. It's the simple fact that Shy is hitting a lot of incredible shots and giving so much extra pressure in favor of Bilibili.
And they're actually going to break through the hardest part of Havana. That's going to be the second point as well. Oh, get out of my way. Get completely run over, Hybe, like a freight train.
Yeah, but there's a blizzard on the payload. Mija is forced into the meteor strike as the amplification matrix is on the high ground. Coldest does get juggled a little bit, but he's fine. He's healthy. He just uses his crouch boots to get up and over. And speaking of, Over is doing what he can to try to stick the payload to the back door of it, but will be figured out. And now Mija at full HP with a couple of the adaptive shields plus the rally is looking healthy enough to push back Bilibili for once.
And now this is going to be the toughest part of Bilibili Gaming because of the nature of the distiller. Winter is going to go over to the Brigitte, going to be able to give a little bit more sustain to the front line. Shy, maybe even going to have to tap into, use the Pine tactic and, almost want to use the Deadeye animation as a second reload as apart from the roll animation that you can get to auto-reload your Peacekeeper. T1W having to use all of their ultimates is in tow in the previous fight and a half. Weo is going to have the nano boost available. It's going to be their only tactic apart from a traditional dive coming in against Bilibili Gaming, who does have the Valkyrie available.
And again, there's a Deadeye, but we'll say that casually because we'll see what happens. Silver 3 again pushes through. Nice trigger from Yakumo to get the ice wall up. Not quite able to finish off Silver 3 as he gets healed. Wuya again, start backs to the nano boost. Able to get that one into effect. I believe that went to Mija into the backline. Sure did. But again, Mija gets stunned away, and he's able to at least get the uppercut for Shy, but he gets frozen in place. So it's a 1-for-1 trade, 5-on-5 action. DPS gone for both of our squads, but Bilibili doing what they can to, again, just take the high ground positioning, not fully committing to getting the payload moving at the moment. It's more of just getting the high ground and setting themselves up for the next fight in a more favorable spot, which it looks like they're doing relatively successfully. Silver 3 has sniffed this out and says, I want to make sure this doesn't, in fact, happen. Minefield gets put into the blizzard, and Yakumo does get slept, but it's not before the support line gets completely dismantled from the side of T1W.
Free shots from Coldest on the primary fire of the Baptiste, which is a hit scan, can actually deal a sufficient amount of damage if all 3 shots land into the head as well. This was last fight territory for Bilibili Gaming to get knocked off the point. Silver 3 is just going to try to stall off as much time as possible, but we will see a 3rd point assault coming through from Bilibili Gaming on Havana. Legitimately the hardest point to break here into capture on for any escort map. It may seem all the way up to the Overwatch League. We see teams truly struggle on this map in particular. T1W still being as stubborn can be, are going to be sticking here on the triple support 2 DPS composition as well. Silver 3 is going to swap over to the Orisa now. Going to try to lock all 4 legs into the ground and being able to keep the shield up. So that way the supports have a clear line of sight to heal and to be able to traverse through. But it's just going to be open, well, quite literally shooting fish in a barrel here. Shy does have another Deadeye available. Do you pull it? Do you find value? Do you use it as a reload? Only time will tell.
His accuracy has to be
Oh
nuts.
my God!
Oh my goodness, another clutch
What
stun.
a bait!
He reads the translocator so well. EMP does get triggered, but finds nothing as the channel doesn't fully come through. T1W, though, again, somehow able to still battle back as Bilibili forced so many resources and just making sure they were able to deal with the EMP if it did come through. So, T1W able to keep their defense in motion, but again, the awareness of Shy has been incredible.
And now we get to see it push that much further. Shy onto the Widowmaker. Here we go. One of the best points of escort for any Widowmaker to be playing around on. And Shy finds the opening pick on the Mola run.
Still, though, Mija in the backline. Immortality Field will negate any extra pressure. Another halt combination, this time into the headshot of Shy. And now overtime. In effect, how far can you get this payload pushed for Bilibili? They do have a far back in the mix. We've seen what Winter's been able to do. Can he find extra success to potentially earn himself a barrage on this push?
Shy is going to lock their teeth into this backline. They're going to have to find an impressive value in Mija trying to dive through. Molaron's going to have to go on a true stealth mission to try to get Shy off of this high ground. They have an open season right ahead of them as well. It's going to allow Winter, Yakumo, Mika, and Coldest to find value in their ultimates coming through. And Over's about to have the superchargers. T1W is going to have a breakthrough moment with their support ultimates.
Silver 3 commits in. Nano Boost gets expended for T1W on the early defensive effort. Sound Barrier has to be channeled just to keep Wii alive. No more ultimates for T1W. It's up to Bilibili. How do you close things off? The Blizzard comes through, but Winter gets taken down before he can get the Blizzard off. And, well, there are numbers here, but Hybe does get taken out. Supercharger in play. Can the front line find enough damage? Yakumo doing what he can with the Icicle Burst. Trying to find the damage illusion very low. Will get hit with the body tag, but again, no one's able to really touch the time illusion. Just barely able to get there, but the damage has been found. The Supercharger well met, and now the EMP just a touch late. It will at least get off. I don't want to even say it's a silver linings, though, because Bilibili are able to finish.
I mean, that's the thing about the composition that you saw from T1W. Not a whole lot of point contention coming through from that composition specifically.
Well, Nobi, let's get you back in here, sir. A lot of things to take away from the first point to the second point, and then the compositional switch at the end for Bilibili to finish off part 3.
I mean, you were saying during the game, like, Shy stopped hitting Q, but arguably his Q has been his best move throughout the entire series, throughout this entire map so far, because he's baiting the entirety of T1W every time he's using that Deadeye. He baits Micha in, he baits Eren in with that EMP, and then flashbangs him out of the animation. So every time that he's hitting that high noon, he's forcing T1W to try and contest with it, because there's no diva, there's nothing that can eat it, so they have to either contest the high noon or they have to play around those sight lines, and their option for T1W has been going in. But Shy is totally fine with taking the trade. He knows that the rest of his team is still there with the follow-up, with the DPS, with the kills that they need to snowball after T1W really wastes so much time trying to kill Shy in these Deadeye animations. So Shy is just proving to be a phenomenal player so far. That bait on the EMP was phenomenal. I've kind of never seen anything like that, where you bait it so hard and just read the fact that Eren is going to be hitting that EMP. You flash him out of it, and then you just snowball the fight from there. Make the swap to Widow, and then just decide to, hit some headshots on the way out.
High level Overwatch indeed, right? I mean, you got like a mechanical skill coming from Shy, but what about the mind games too? It's the come at me, bro, that you expect to see, especially from such a high level player like Shy. And thank you for the insight, Kenobi. Definitely going to get your 2 cents at the end of this map, specifically about how much we are enjoying seeing Shy playing DPS again. T1W on their attack, going to be coming out with a 3-2-1 composition. Going to be coming through with the Molaron solo DPS. With Mija onto the Brigitte, looking a little shaky on it thus far through this entire series, Alan.
It's been interesting as well for T1W. Again, Eren gets baited into a number of EMPs that don't actually find value, but still T1W is able to follow up behind it and find themselves a couple of team fight wins. So how about this play from Yakumo, as he's able to sniff out Wuya on the back side of the garage, and that'll do nicely for this opening aggressive defensive hold here for Bilibili to start.
Bilibili Gaming, again, this is the scariest part about the buildings here. And above the spawn room as well, Yakumo can hang out above here for so long. You see the rocket jump? This is so terrifying, but it enables Silver 3 to find a dive onto Winter and lock down the first elimination.
Over also very, very low. Coldest gets taken down. Shy gets taken down. Over soon to follow. And that's a nice little play saying, all right, you want to sit in our backline. We're just going to push through into yours as a full force. And with the hack involved, that is enough for T1W to find a convincing resurge through this attack, and we'll get this payload moving.
Yeah, without Mika and Winter, Coldest basically becomes the most vulnerable target on Bilibili Gaming. And although Shy was right there, oh, what a shot. 9 HP, Molaron just translocates away with their life. That's the scariest part. You got the infrared sight available. Silver 3 hanging up here, looking for some more monkey business in the back line of Bilibili Gaming. T1W are going to have a nano boost to put over top of him. Molaron has an EMP in the wakes.
Looking for a way to get this barrage online. Will come through, finds illusion, but Yakumo, it costs him his life. Silver 3 into the primal rage, gets slept, and his teammates are coming to his assistance. The supercharger's also down, and again, it feels like Bilibili are not really sure who they want to shoot at, considering the fact that Silver was slept and they didn't want to wake him. But now, finally, they're able to take Hybe out of mech, and that's enough for them to take down the pilot diva as well. Silver 3 running back for his life, and Shy will throw a couple of body shots his way while they retreat back. But Bilibili still hold on just narrowly before point A.
Not without exhausting a handful of ultimates themselves. So Bilibili Gaming will have the Valkyrie to try to traject their way into another series of ultimates themselves. Hybe has a self-destruct, can really break things up and split this team up away from Over and this shield. That seems to be the name of the game, especially against any Orisa composition. You make them move, and you have them second guess about what their next decision will be. The self-destruct is a little bit too high, does not find any value. Big sleep dart on a Mola run, though.
Yeah, I was about to say, this actually puts Bilibili into a corner up until Coldest is able to get that sleep dart off. So now all of a sudden, can you potentially turn this back around? Illusion finds 2 kills, able to boop the Pharah out of the way as well. So now it's just down to, can you find the elimination onto Mika, who's out here by themselves, will also drop away, and this will be this first stage completed for T1W. And even though the self-destruct sequence doesn't find any eliminations, it forces Bilibili into a corner, and T1W able to convert.
Damage control, hello. We have a fragging frog on the side of T1W.GZA. It's going to actually have a sound barrier for their worth. 2 support ultimates going to be online here through the distillery, and this is where teams can really struggle again. Breaking yourself through and snowballing through the distillery phase and pushing yourself with a time bank into third. Even we saw Bilibili Gaming, although they were able to capture all 3 points of Havana, they had a lot of time exhausted away from them in the distillery phase. Oh no, Silver 3. Oh, that was about to be a little bit worse for where the damage came through. But over now onto the Reinhardt with Shy onto the Brigitte. It's a 3-2-1 mirror composition.
Silver 3 looking to stay involved into the front, lower part into the back line. He's also got a primal rage if he needs it. Looks like he won't. Good hacks also coming through for T1W. Molenran finding value. And like you mentioned, over onto the Reinhardt, he's left wondering how does he stay into this fight. He will at least find a pin onto Illusion, but Shy will fall away. Again, no support really here to help with the exception of Winter. And actually, T1W are not really finding a convincing win here. A couple of their pieces of their composition are getting melted through by Winter, who's still alive, by the way. Yakumo will be shield bashed before he can translocate out of dodge. And now it's on to Silver 3 to make sure that this Bilibili defense does get pushed back completely.
Yeah, I said it's a mirror composition, but it's a different brand of value as well. Bilibili Gaming are on the Reinhardt and Zarya, so they offer themselves a little bit more brawl, where T1W are still on the dive tank, so they can find isolated targets and really burst them down as well. They have the EMP and self-destruct available, both tank ultimates as well, so Bilibili Gaming have to be really concerned about their positioning to not get EMP'd and exploded out of existence.
Translocator, EMP, there really were no support players around, though. Coldest is able to stay through it, so is Yakumo, but Molenran at least able to take down the main frontliner. In over is Reinhardt. Shy also falling. And just like that, T1W will complete the second stage with a little bit more comfort than Bilibili were able to previously.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to set themselves up for a snowball as well. You're going to see Silver 3 go back to the spawn, probably swap over to the Reinhardt themselves, possibly, knowing that there's going to be an Earthshatter to block. No, it's actually going to be the Orisa. Hybe's going to take the Sombra from Molarun to fly high in the sky as the Pharah. But here's the thing, Illusion has to get through the sound barrier first before going over to the Mercy. 3 support ultimates as well for T1W, and you have to expect that Mija, after exhausting the rally, might actually go over to the Doomfist to find more backline oppression, but Shy has the Graviton Surge waiting as well. Wuya is going to put the Nano Boost out already.
Trying to get Molenran to set up for a barrage, but the Graviton Surge comes down, locks him in, and it'll be the Earthshatter. Actually does take down Over as well, as far as putting him on the ground, or pardon me, Silver 3 as well, as Over is able to find a good value with it. And again, it was kind of an ult for ult fight, maybe a little bit of an overcommittal for Bilibili, as they aren't really able to turn the Earthshatter into much progress when it comes to actually pushing back T1W. Silver 3 will come right back in, so is Molenran. And again, the barrage very close. They were looking to set that up with the Nano Boost previously, but now he'll have an opportunity to maybe let things drip, but the EMP comes through, does not find Illusion, able to get the sound barrier off. T1W trying to stay alive desperately, will be able to do so, but how do you counterattack this? How about an EMP of their own? But Mika's able to survive the sound barrier enough to keep the contest and the frontliners in specific. T1W will essentially be full wiped in the back end.
Both Hybe and Yakumo having a hard time of locking down the supports. The Lucios of either side. Illusion now giving up the Lucio mantle, is going to fly high with Molarun as well, who even try to find value in the barrage as well. Mija over to the Hanzo actually is going to be able to try to find value in range.
Shy taking down Molenran early, though. Look at things going nicely. Minute 23 seconds left. And Shy has earned himself another Graviton Surge. A really nice cycle of ultimates there for the Zarya player, for Bilibili. And now, all of a sudden, how do you set up this Graviton Surge? It was used kind of as a follow-up in the last fight. You would love to be able to initiate with it here. Well, again, Illusion is sitting on, well, there it is, from downtown. You can afford to do that, trapping everybody by the spawn, and now Over can start slapping away. Molenran gets taken down immediately after being rezzed. The Earthshatter comes through, finds 4 targets, a big shatter, and that'll be Bilibili decidedly sitting right in front of T1W's spawn door with a campfire set up.
Yeah, you know, well, The card's been here for about 2.5 minutes at this point as
Sure
well,
has.
putting T1W in a last fight territory as well. Bilibili Gaming were able to capitalize on the last 2 bends of Havana and be able to force their way through. So T1W are going to take stall swaps coming out here. Nija onto the Doomfist, looking for the same value that they found on Numbani. Can they end up finding the same magic here? Again, Hybe getting closer to the EMP to fight underneath the Valkyrie of Illusion. They're going to set up the barrage from Molarun as well. But Bilibili Gaming, they're playing this defense so wonderfully.
And now Yakumo looking to set himself up for the EMP. Will that be the nail in the coffin? Nano Boost comes out from Coldest. Mija looking to get some work done to the back line, but Over is so healthy in the front. They're looking at Mija saying, where are you going to try to come back to? Over, good patience. Winter able to find Hybe. So now all of a sudden it just comes down to Yakumo. When do you hit the trigger on this EMP? That's win condition set up for you. There it is, able to take down 3 with it. As Silver 3's got nowhere to go. Illusion also EMP'd away from using the rest of that Valkyrie charge, and it just comes down to Molarun trying to make some heroics happen with the barrage, but now the sound barrier for Bilibili. There will be no map 5 today unless somebody can pull out the heroics. Again, they are right in front of the spawn doors for T1W, so as far as being staggered on the respawn, they should be able to get here in pretty quick fashion, but another Graviton Surge for Shy, really, again, stepping up here in map number 4, and Over will close things up with the Earth Shatter. Bilibili take the map and find themselves the set 3-1.
No defensive ultimate capabilities in that last and final fight to the Earth Shatter or the Graviton Surge, and why not just throw Earth Shatter on top of the Graviton and really lock down that victory? Well played from Bilibili Gaming to go undefeated in the regular season of Chinese Contenders Season 2 2019.
And that does definitely cement our squad of T1W into the 3rd spot. So Kenobi, again, just instant reactions from this set as far as how it might apply towards the playoff hopes for both of these squads.
Well, for this game specifically, there were a lot of questions that were answered, I think, from BLG's side in terms of what compositions they can play, how they can play on certain heroes. Like, I had questions about Shy's Widowmaker since it was a lot of him not playing it. It was sometimes Bozzy when he was in the lineup. I no longer have questions about Shy's Widow. It's good. It's good enough to play in 2-2-2 if they're going to run double sniper. And I think for the side of T1W, you have to really figure out what you're going to do with Micha. We saw only Micha today, no assassins, so that tells me that they're trying to probably groom Micha to play towards this 2-2-2 style, and it just sometimes you really are relying on the fact that Micha can pop off on Doomfist, but as we've seen from BLG, it's easily counterable, as BLG showed on most of the maps that they played, except for the one map on Numbani where Micha was able to pop off. But if you're able to kind of just mitigate the damage coming out from the DPS players of BLG, you know, Mola and Eren on that last map, getting completely pressured out every single time by Yakumo and by Coldest on the Ana and the Sombra, it's very difficult for you to find the value he was finding on Numbani. So for BLG, a lot of questions answered about if they're the best team in China. I think now this fully cements them as they are. T1W, a lot of questions about what they're going to be looking like in 2-2-2.
Panda, kind of similar thoughts. You think T1W's maybe a little bit pigeonholed into only one style of composition? I mean, it doesn't seem to be going all that well for them. Again, Kenobi mentioned they're kind of their own worst enemies, and it seems like that's really ringing true as Mija seems to keep on trying to force this Doomfist with Silver 3 on the Wrecking Ball.
I think they can find value in it. It just comes down to whether or not they can play the Orisa Hog heading into 2-2-2 Rollock. Even the Orisa Diva, the dive tanks, whatever it may be, I don't know why they're not trying to play around the 2-2-2 and even the Hackfist composition as well. If you're trying to force it, don't even try to force it. Just try to find value in it, because Mija, so long as the space is available and the space is created, well, Mija's going to be able to find value in the Doomfist. We have seen it for 2 seasons of Contenders at this point, even more so as well. Since Mija bounced onto the scene and seismic slammed into your backline, we have been seeing Mija being able to find value on the Doomfist if the space and the timing is correct. The one thing that you have to be utterly concerned with as well is the unfamiliarity of the fight against the bunker composition. We saw it earlier on today when we saw them still trying to force a triple DPS. Well, they really struggled against the Reaper and the McCree, plus on top of Yakumo with the Mei, plus the Orisa Hog composition. They didn't really know what to do. It just seemed very unpracticed. Yeah. It was very, very frustrating to see. And that's not what you expect to see from T1W, who this season got picked up by Guangzhou as their academy roster as well. You expect to see higher things coming in from them through the playoffs if they want to make it to the gauntlet.
Kind of another thought.
Now they can't force triple DPS because it's 2-2-2, so maybe
it's
a blessing in disguise.
Right.
So maybe now that they're pigeonholed into this idea that we have to play 2-2-2, I think Hybe probably will go back over to off tank instead of trying to flex on Micha and Assassin. I have no idea what's going to happen there, because Micha played every single. I don't know if Assassin is still like what he's going to be about, if they're going to bring him in for control like they have been. So for T1W, you know, maybe 2-2-2 lock is a blessing that they're going to have to play in a certain style and with a certain composition. And they can't just continuously force 3-3, triple DPS. They have to play 2-2-2, and it might be something very good for them.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I think that's pretty wishful thinking, at least as far as my initial reaction to thinking that 2-2-2 will be a blessing for T1W. But the kind of question that I want to frame to you guys to wrap up the other side of this picture is, how in goodness name do you prepare for Bilibili? Because they are looking solid across a variety of different compositions. And to be frank, they look like they're just out preparing their squads as far as what to play out of the gate for maps like Assault and the Hybrid so far.
Well, I think when go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, I think with BLG, like we talked about earlier in the series, they cover every single base, right? And that's kind of been their mantra, as we've seen. You know, now this is the first time that we've seen them bring out the May Reaper, which in OWL, if you've been watching, has been the premier composition, right? With the Orisa Hog, who played that, and they seem to have a very good understanding of it, or maybe T1W didn't have that good of an understanding of it. But the fact that BLG can switch between all these different compositions, the fact that you have someone like Shy who can flex on the basically almost anything at this point. We saw the McCree, we saw the Zarya, which we probably won't see ever again, but we saw like the Reaper as well. It seems that if you have from your DPS line, it's very good going into 2-2-2. You can cover so many bases.
Yeah, look at that.
I think with all that being said as well, is that when you are looking into the 2-2-2 lock, maybe you might not see the Zarya ever again as well, but I just want to see more of that McCree. If Sombra is going to be continuously played in 2-2-2, I think you have to be quaking in your boots about the bait and switch that's going to be coming through for or against Bilibili Gaming, excuse me, as they look forward to the playoffs as well. Their 2-2-2 look very strong as well, and even when they were not playing it as well, their coordination still as clear as it was since day one of.
Well, we'll take a look here again. Our final standing says this was our last match of our regular season. Again, Bilibili kind of stealing the show here at 5-0 in Group B. LGD, though, a big consideration as they finish off with a very healthy 4-1, only dropping 5 maps in their journey. In T1W, like we